I ordered this fabric online a few weeks ago and I still haven't gotten around to making anything out of it, but I was thinking I kind of wanted to make like a really cute like floral top. Okay, this is what it really looks like. It's like really green, it has little daisies on it, and it's super cute. And yeah, like I said, I kind of wanted to make like a cute top out of it, but then I was thinking it would make a really cute skirt as well, and also a skirt would be like way easier. I also asked on Instagram what I should make out of this, a skirt or a top, and like 90% of the people voted skirt. But like if for some like random reason I end up having enough fabric to make a top, maybe this video will get a part 2 and I'll make a top out of it. But making 2 items of clothing in one video is just, honestly, it's just too much for me. So we're gonna start with the skirt and see how that goes. If you've seen any of my other sewing videos, you may already know this, but one of my favorite ways to sew new clothing is to base the pattern off of something I already own. In my mind, it's just the easiest way to cut things out. A few videos ago, I thrifted this skirt, did have to modify it a little bit, but yeah, now I love it. And it's pretty much the same like style of skirt that I'm gonna go for with this fabric here. It's a little bit thicker, so I hope that it still works out with the fabric that I have. This fabric's pretty thin, so I'll probably have to double it up and hope that that works. So basically what I'm gonna do is just take this and some plain white wrapping paper and cut out every section of fabric that is on this skirt. Then we're gonna cut it out of the other fabric. I also have a plan for the buttons, which I will explain a little bit later. This room is pretty small, so I'm just gonna be working on the floor, but it's basically exactly what I just said. Just gonna take this skirt, put it down, trace the pieces, and cut them out. Now this skirt does have a waistband, but I'm not gonna do a waistband, so I'm just gonna act as if this waistband is the same piece as the skirt. And since the 2 front panels of the skirt are exactly the same, I'm just gonna cut out one. That way I can just flip it over and make 2 different sides. I'm also gonna just like put the buttons right here so I know which side is which. And since this skirt is only 3 pieces, I only need to do the back now, which is excellent. We love it when things are simple. The only particular thing I worry about with this skirt is that there are 2 little darts here, so I'm not sure. They're not super huge, but I might make the top waist of the skirt just a little tiny bit bigger. That way I can put the darts in afterwards. I'll just trace the shape of it for now, and then we'll make it a little bit bigger. Also, I finally got a cutting mat. Now that I have all the pattern pieces cut out, really all I have to do is lay out the fabric, pin the pattern piece down, and cut the fabric out. But since I want the fabric to be 2 layers, I'm going to fold 2 layers of the fabric in half and cut each section out 2 at a time to make my life easier. I know in the last video I didn't do that. I cut out each piece of fabric individually, but we're not gonna make that same mistake again. We're just gonna cut it as a double layer. And then this is going by really quick and I don't know what's going on. Things are going way too smoothly, but yeah, after that, then I just have to pin it together and sew it. We'll get there. So since the skirt is 2 layers and I want most of the seams to be on the inside, like as many seams on the inside as possible so you can't see them, I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the last skirt that I made. I'm gonna take apart both layers and basically sew 2 separate skirts. That way when I sandwich them together, the seams are on the inside and then I'll just have to fold up the bottom seam. So I'm gonna go ahead, so I'll sew that together right there, and then sew this piece together right here, and obviously make sure it's inside out when you're sewing it. So while I was doing the sewing, I actually ended up sewing both pieces together as well, just because I was there, you know, I just went ahead and did it. So I have both of my like skirts, just long strips of fabric basically, and I sewed them together at the top of the hem so that, I have no idea if you guys can see what I'm doing, but so that when I flip it inside out, like, you know, the layers will like sandwich together and we'll have a nice cute skirt. So I'm not quite done with it being inside out yet because the skirt that I based it off of actually had 2 very small darts in the back. So what I'm gonna do is just make those right now. First of all, I'm going to pull the fabric out flat like this. And then I'm just gonna like basically pinch some fabric like this and just sew it, like just sew it, like just pinch some Why am I so bad at explaining what I'm doing? Like, once you guys see it, you'll understand. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So it definitely didn't come out perfect, but basically it's just like I took in the fabric just a little bit at the back of the skirt. So I hope that made sense. And now while it's still inside out, I'm going to sew up the side seams, but not the bottom seams. So I went ahead and just put a little like seam at the top of the skirt just to hold the inside seam down a little bit. I don't know if you guys can really tell at all, but I just did a stitch all the way down the sides, all the way across the top, and then one down the other side because I'm not putting a waistband in, so I just figured that would kind of give it a finishing look for the top. And really, like, this is moving so quickly for some reason because now all I have to do is fold the bottom in twice and put a stitch down the bottom, and then the skirt's basically done, and all I have to do is add the buttons. I got this bag of like plain silver buttons from the thrift store for $2. And what I'm gonna do is just take some fabric and use the fabric to cover up the button before I sew it onto the skirt so that it has like a nice like finished look to it. Then I'm gonna sew them onto the skirt and the skirt should be done. This is what it looks like. I think it turned out really cute. I don't know if like the screen is like blowing it out too much or whatever, but the buttons turned out so cute. So what I did for the buttons is basically I did a really thick like zigzag stitch so that it kind of looks like what embroidery looks like. Did 2 lines of it, stitched it on the top and the bottom, and then I took an X-Acto knife to slice through the fabric because I find it a lot easier than cutting the buttonhole first and then trying to sew around it. I just feel like that it gets too hard to do it that way. Yeah, I think it turned out really, really cute. I love the pattern. It fits me really well. I feel like the finished buttons just give it more of like a professional look. Not that this is professional by any means, but I don't know. I just feel like the finished buttons just make it look really nice, you know? Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to make more skirts or if you want me to make something else next time.